Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we're going to be looking at the Sentinel AC IV Experimental, which is a Australian tank, but it finds itself in the British tech tree, and it's a tier 6 medium. Now there is another tier 6 premium medium in the British that's very similar to this, and it is the Boilermaker. They are very similar tanks. They both have the quickfire 17 pounder. They both have not so great armour, although this one does have slightly better figures on most of the tank, and they both basically fulfill a very good support role. And one of the ways that you can do quite well in these is to kind of use it a bit more like a tank destroyer, especially when you're bottom tier, because this does not get preferential matchmaking, so it will see up to tier 8. Now it's in the store at the minute at I think a shade over 6,000 gold. Its listed price in the Tankopedia is 3,550, I think it is, which again is about average for a tier 6, so that's not too bad at all. And is coming in a couple of different packages. There's a 5,000 gold one coming on the 24th of March, which has got, you know, various boosts, premium days, etc., like the Ultimate one does, but a bit less. And then on the 27th we get a base bundle at 3,900, obviously with the garage slot crew, and an ASOP included as well, which is, you know, usual with the new stuff. So yeah, I don't think I need to spend too long on it, because like I say, you know, there's a lot of things about it that are very familiar. The tank itself does look very different. It does have quite an underpowered engine, which is one of the things that I'd say is probably its main issue, is the underpowered engine. Anyway, Ordnance Quickfire 17 pounder at 12 rounds a minute, slightly less than a Firefly, which is 12.7, 171 pen, 150 damage, 239 on your premium, and 38 190 on your HE, so no change there. Aiming time 2.1 seconds, which is not bad, again about average for the 17 pounder. Accuracy 0.39, which is slightly worse than the Firefly, and it only, you know, it's only by 0.01, but it is still slightly worse, and the accuracy can troll you a little bit at range with this thing. 40-degree hull traverse and a 44-degree turret traverse, 360 meter view range, which is about average for the tier. Signal range 450, which I think is slightly low for the tier. That's more like a sort of stock radio range sort of thing, but then again there are worse than that. Now, supplies wise, well, quite cheap for your standard rounds, 175 for your armor piercing, 3,200 for your APCR, and 75 for your high explosive. Equipment wise, well, I've gone for a gun lane drive just to try and improve the aiming time. I've gone for the tank gun rammer because, well, it really does have a great rate of fire, even though it is slightly less than the Firefly. It is still a really good rate of fire, so why not make it even better? And because it does kind of fulfill that support role, I've put coated optics on there, although you could go for maybe vents or even binocular telescope, depending on exactly how you want to play this tank. And I think I've probably been a little bit too cautious in it so far, but we'll see. There have been a lot of Japanese super heavies around though, and you know, they hit you with HE on this and they're going to pen, so I have had to be quite cautious. Skill wise, well, I've put quite a skilled crew in it from one of my other British tanks, so I mean, for me personally, I think the crew skills that are on there are about right for this tank. You may slightly disagree with me, but I think they're, you know, they're not bad. Maybe Eagle Eye might not need to be on there, but you know, situational awareness to improve your view range. Outspotting your enemies in this is, well, it's fantastic view and literally murder for them. Muffled shot, camouflage. I think that's Green Thumb possibly, and Sixth Sense. So yeah, I don't think you can go far wrong with that. Definitely situational awareness will help out, and obviously camouflage and Sixth Sense for sure. So let's have, well, actually let's address the elephant in the room first. Yes, that is a machine gun port on the front and one on the turret. Yes, they do look like certain male anatomy parts, so yeah. And I think I've seen a gif of this on Twitter. In fact, I retweeted it because it nearly had me crying with laughter. But yes, they are the dodgiest looking machine gun ports I've ever seen. So once everybody's sort of stopped giggling and poking fun at that, we'll yeah, you can unpause the video then, and I shall carry on now. Anyway, engine, like I say, quite underpowered. It's a very big engine. It's basically a 330 horsepower engine, but that translates to a very poor power to weight ratio of 11.62. So yeah, I mean, that power to weight ratio does really translate quite poorly, and you know, that's heavy tank standards, and in fact, you know, there's a lot of heavy tanks that have a better power to weight ratio than that, so it does feel quite sluggish to get going, and especially if you encounter any kind of incline. It does have a good forward top speed though of 60 kilometers an hour. It can get there, but it takes a while, and to be honest, it's normally downhill when you do reach the full 60. Normally on flat ground you're hitting, you know, the mid 50s, but it's normally on a bit of a sort of downward slope that you will hit that 60. I mean, this thing can shift downhill. It really quite surprised me. I nearly flipped it over actually earlier going downhill because it surprised me a little bit. And I hit something at the bottom, so there you go. But anyway, you've got a 20% chance of fire, and it is a big old engine block. I mean, it's the rear half of the tank, so you know, that is a large engine compartment with a 20% chance of fire, which is the higher percentage. Gun wise, well, your reload time's 5 seconds. You've got a 20-degree elevation, which is really good. Again, quite average. But there are tanks that are far worse than that. There are some that are better, but yeah, 20 degrees is, well, yeah, quite good. You know, it's very workable. And you have a very good minus 10 degrees of gun depression, and that does seem to be, well, it seems to be over the entire tank. I've not checked it fully over the back of the tank, but with the rear slope, there's a good chance it could be, but I might be wrong on that one. It's something I should have checked, really. I just forgot when I'm in a match. I don't normally get into the habit of pointing the back of my tank towards enemies if I can help it. Anyway, terrain resistances 1.2 and 2.2, so they're not too bad. It does struggle a bit, obviously, in the very wet, swampy ground, and you know, that's partially down to the poor terrain resistance there, because that is fairly bad for that, and because of the smaller engine as well, trying to pull it through the water. Oh, and as you can see, there are quite a lot of gaps in the tracks. So they're not so much a solid unit like they are in quite a lot of tanks that afford you quite a bit of protection. These don't. Turret on top, quite an unusual shape, as you can see. Radio, quite small, down in the rear right of the turret. And ammunition blocks are down in the hull. Well, I'd say if you line up more or less with the front of the turret and fire just above the tracks or just below the tracks, you're going to be, yeah, you're going to be hitting that ammo rack, I would have said. Crew members, well, you've got the driver and assistant driver / machine gunner down in the front there of the hull, and then up in the turret you've got the commander under his cupola, and you've got the loader and the gunner. Now, armour wise, I'm going to compare it to the Firefly, and simply because it's so similar. I mean, it looks completely different, but the way that this plays is so very similar, and of course it has the same gun. So the figures for this are 65 all around the turret, but as you can see, you know, the front is a bit of a sort of patchwork of different sort of angles and thicknesses, and yes, another phallic machine gun port. Now the front of the tank, it's 65 on the front, 45, yep, got that right, 45 on the side, and 45 on the rear as well. Now the Boilermaker has 76 on the front of the turret, 56 side and rear, and it has 51 on the front of the hull, and I think it's 38 on the sides and about the same on the rear, I think, although again could be slightly wrong. But as you can see, the front is a bit of a patchwork itself, so it doesn't quite tell the whole story. 1 to 20mm is, where is it? A thin strip just underneath the overhang on the engine deck and the tracks, and that's about it really for that one. 21 to 30, you've got small bits just underneath, I'm assuming possibly transmission cover, maybe differential possibly, but anyway, the rounded sort of lower glacis, or yeah, rounded lower glacis. So yeah, just under that bit, it is very reminiscent of the Shermans. You've also got part of the, I suppose it's the upper glacis, although it is almost horizontal with a very slight curve to it, so even though it's very, very thin, I don't think that's going to get penned unless anything gets up a bit closer. But if you are close enough and for whatever reason you're struggling to get through the rest of it, try and aim down onto that bit. You also got a thin strip just underneath the machine gunner port, the engine deck, top of the turret, and yeah, just well, the top deck itself. 31 to 50 are the sides of the tank, and they are quite flat and smooth. I've not tried side scraping in this. Like I say, I've been playing it fairly cautiously today. The rear of the tank, apart from that patch just in there, and just sort of the bottom part of the turret, the rounded bit that goes into the turret ring, and lots of little bits and bobs around, well, around the gun mantle, the machine gun port there on top, and the strip around the commander's hatch. Sorry, I can't help laughing. I just keep thinking of that GIF. And anyway, the 51 to 70, well, the rest of the turret falls into that, but like I say, it is sort of a bit of a patchwork, and if they're hull down or they're coming over ridgeline and you're struggling to pen the turret, try and go for the machine gun, just, well, the coaxial machine gun, sorry, just by the gun there. And now the machine gun port on the front is one of the harder, yes, no pun intended, I know, I know what it looks like, but yes, it is one of the harder things to penetrate. On the front of the tank, this has been the hardest review. And you've also got the rounded lower glacis, and I forgot to turn my phone off, honestly, everything's going wrong. And you've got those two vertical strips as well, just inside the tracks, which are quite unusual. The machine gun port itself, or sorry, the machine gunner's viewport also falls into that category, as do the small flat bits on the overhanging engine deck. It is a whole mess of weird sort of angles and sticky out bits on this, and that small rectangular patch on the back of the tank as well. So there you go. The AC4 concealment is slightly better than the Firefly. I did forget about that. 0.27 and 0.21, so that's not too bad. It is a fairly stealthy machine. And bonuses, 22% silver bonus and a 30% XP bonus. Right, enough of that now. Let's get into the gameplay and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. It's a tier 8 match, and I think both of them are actually, although I think the second one might be one tier 8 on each team. But yeah, tier 8 match, here we are. On Fjords, standard battle. And I am going to play it cautiously in this one, which is understandable. It's a tier 8, I'm a tier 6. Now, personally, I quite like this tank. I can see why a lot of people won't like this tank, though. It is very sluggish. It's not got particularly well, particularly good armor, but it does have a very good gun. And I don't know, though. You see, it is very similar to the Firefly, and obviously, in turn, the Boilermaker. And it's one of those arguments, is it worth having this if you've already got the Boilermaker? But then again, even though it's very similar to that tank, or, you know, the Firefly Boilermaker, it is different as well. Like I say, you know, it is more sluggish, so you've got to, you know, account for that. It is also got a higher top speed, which, when you do finally get going, allows you to, you know, get places a little bit quicker. And of course the armor profile is slightly different as well. This could possibly side scrape better than a Firefly could, so just it's got slightly thicker side armor. But yeah, personally I quite like it. I do like this 17-pounder gun down at tier 6. I think that, well, it's a fantastic gun down at tier 6 on a medium tank. It really is very good. And like I say, in tier 8 matches you play this very cautiously. You stay back, you hide, you play it almost like you would, I suppose, a TD, you know, sort of a more traditional TD. In tier 6 matches you can be more aggressive in it, not, you know, overly aggressive, you know, you're not going to be brawling in it, but you can afford to be a bit more aggressive. You can really work the ridge lines in it with the fantastic gun depression, and that of course then increases all the angles on the front of the tank as well, on the upper glacis, and, you know, just makes it all that little bit thicker. But for now, well, I've just popped up well, as you can see, I'm in sort of C5, sort of on the border of C4. Did get a bit far forwards there, got spotted by the M6. I was being very cautious in sort of creeping forward though, and I'm using this back slope and the foliage in front of me, well, for concealment, and also to pull back down the slope for a bit of hard cover. Now the M6 has been spotted again, which I was hoping it would, and that's allowing me to use that rate of fire, although I didn't quite get the kill on him. Now there's still, I think the Hellcat might have been taken care of, or is he still up there? But there's the Japanese super heavy round there. Oh no, there's the Hellcat. Just aiming in, not quite quick enough on the aim time there. But I have found with this gun, and I know it sounds daft, but if you don't let it fully aim a lot of the time, I've been missing with it. The .39 accuracy, there is worse, but it could be better. So my own experience with it is I've always found it better to, you know, let it aim fully. I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't seem particularly good at snapshotting, or not in my experience anyway. You might have something, you know, different experience with it. But as you can see, going downhill, you can pick up quite a bit of speed. I'm going to put one into the IS, and luckily I set him on fire. That was a lovely shot, and I just popped one into him to finish him off. Now there's a Tiger 2 down there, though. Now that was poorly aimed. I was trying to hit his commander's hatch, and it just didn't happen. I was going for the tracking shot there, but he pulled back a little far, and it went. Well, I think it bounced off his upper glacis. Managed to get one into the side of the OI though. Now I know that Tiger 2 is down there, and this is a bit risky, but he just fired and missed, so I thought I might be able to just risk another shot at the OI, but he pulled back. And well, I've done the same. I don't want to get hit by that Tiger 2 if I can help it. Now, can I get his commander's hatch? Nope, not quite. He's pulling back. Can I risk another one on the OI? I can, but I bounced? No, missed, I think. Keep an eye on that Tiger 2 and go for the... Oh, well, there you go. I was going to go for the OI's commander's hatch, but he got taken out. Now, there's a couple of heavies down on that bottom corner. It was a good team spread, actually. The team did sort of spread quite well. They've managed to hold them off on that southern tip there, on that bend. So it's not going too bad. And I know I went through very deep water there, but see how it just slowed down and how I'm just crawling up this incline. And that's where you really notice that engine. There's the Tiger. Nope. Oh, really didn't want to take that hit. And, oh, there's a Boilermaker. No, a Fury, sorry. Not a Boilermaker. See, I was quite happy to pop up because I knew the Tiger 2 couldn't fire again, but I really didn't want to take that hit from the Fury, so now I am in trouble. And I'm going to try and keep that Tiger 2 spotted so that hopefully somebody can take him out behind me. Where is he? He's still, well, he's still there. I know where he is, but there we go. He's been taken out. That's what I was waiting for. And if I can just get the first shot on this Fury, and oh, he's behind the building. And that, I'd like to say that was skill. But looking back, I wasn't even aiming there, so that did go slightly wide. I must remember to turn the aim assist off. That's when, you know, sometimes you target in reticle, it moves slightly and almost seems to stick to a target and move ever so slightly with it, and sometimes it'll make you hit a rock or whatever. That's the aim assist, so I must remember to turn that off. I have forgotten. But anyway, not a bad match. Came out of that with an ace tanker, 1,672 damage done, which for my first probably half a dozen matches, I seem to be averaging about 15 to 1,600 damage in it. But I did come top of the table, which is quite nice in a tier 8 match. So yeah, bottom tier, really happy with that result. But as you can see, 21 shots fired, 15 hit. A couple of those were my own fault. The others were just the guns sort of dispersion, but not all of those penned either. So 171. It is very, very good pen when you're in a tier 6 match, even in some of the tier 7 matches. When you get into tier 8, you do have to aim a bit more for the weak spots, but still 171 pen is nothing to sort of nothing to shrug at really. Anyway, here's the second match for you, and another tier 8 like I said before, although only technically with sort of one tier 8 on each team. and we're on Prokhorovka, and again stand a battle. Now, I was a bit lost as to where to go on this one, and I was considering staying back a little bit, maybe trying to sort of put pot shots in anything that popped up on that middle ridge, or maybe even sort of slowly make my way around over towards the eastern side, try and support anybody that goes across there. But this MT-25 pops up, and I managed to track him on top of the ridge and damage him at the same time. And now it's just a case, well, farming a little bit of damage off him, and then somebody finished him off. And that's when I was going to carry on under here and over to the eastern side, and just sort of looked at the team behind me and thought, do you know what? Yeah, maybe not. I'm not going over there on my own. So, turn it around, and I decide to work my way down. Well, down towards the centre, but keeping close to the railway embankment as well. And we'll see how that goes for me. But yeah, like I say, I'm quite enjoying it. As you can see how sort of sluggish it is, but you can see that it does eventually pick up a bit of speed and sort of zip along. But yeah, it's very much a sort of supporting tank. But I do get the feeling that when there's not loads of Japanese super heavies knocking about in your tier 6 matches, that you could be a bit more aggressive in this. Like you can with a sort of Firefly, you can be quite aggressive in a tier 6 match. But I'm not, I'm just here to show you what it's like, give you my opinions on it, and then, it's up to you whether you'd actually like it or not. I do enjoy it. I'm not 100% whether I'm going to actually pick this one up or not yet. I do have it on a test drive at the moment from Wargaming. But I don't know, I am edging towards it. I know I've got the Boilermaker, and it sort of almost doesn't make sense, but for some reason I kind of almost enjoy this a bit more, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just something different and new. That could be it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I like it. But like I said before, I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like this tank. Now, I'm being, again, quite cautious on this middle section here. I'm just trying to spot whatever's on that hill, but I've not been spotted yet, but I do keep getting spotted up here, and I'm just keeping an eye out. I know there's stuff on the hill. There they are.
Enemy exposed.
I've got the Hellcat. Can I get a shot in? Yep. I'm not being spotted yet, so I'm quite lucky there. I've been seen, so I'm just going to... yeah, I was going to risk another shot there, actually. That was a bit... yeah, it was a bit risky. I'd been spotted. The detected thing hadn't gone off, so nothing was aiming at me. But then again, sometimes it's a bit too late when that goes off. So yeah, I did risk it staying up there a bit when I've been spotted. And there you go. Spotted again. And I'm not entirely sure what it is. There's an OI down at the other end of this railway near the bridge. I'm pretty sure there's at least... yeah, there's a tank destroyer over on the right. That could have been it. Oh, then Artie hits me, and I'm very, very happy that that missed. Yeah. All that damage was from a miss. If that had hit me, that would have sent me back to the garage right there and then. And that is the thing with this, Artie do like it. Because it has got fairly thin armour that they can usually penetrate when they hit. Now I've got an IS up on the top of the hill. Been spotted again. Pull back. Oh, it's a kaiju down at the other end. Well, this is what I mean. I was hoping to actually bring you a tier 6 match, where this thing's top tier. But I actually did better in the 2 tier 8 matches than I have done in the tier 6 matches today. And like I say, I was playing very cautiously even in the tier 6 matches, and that is mainly because normally when I've been in a tier 6 match, there's been a few kaijus or OIs as top tier, and if they've got the howitzer on, they can one-shot you quite easily. So it's yeah, not being the best of weekends to sort of get a good accurate feel of how this does when it's top tier. But hopefully over the next week. I shall bring you some more footage of this, and after the weekend it should die down a bit with the Japanese heavies. So I should be able to give you a bit more of an accurate reading on what it can be like top tier. And there's the Kaiju. I've got his side. I aimed a bit poorly for the first one. He's done, and now we've got one heavy who's up on the hill. Yep, there he is. It's an IS. I've got his side again. Can I get a bit of damage in? No, of course not. I just hit his tracks, and he's done. And there's Artie, so I'm going to return the favour for the damage he did to me earlier. There's one. Oh, the second one. And can I get the kill? No, I can't. Oh well, never mind. It's still quite a good game. I'm quite happy with that one. So, came out of that with 2,843 XP, 1814 damage, so 1,800, 2,121, 121 assisted, and another ace tanker. So I think a lot of that came from the assisted damage that I got in there, only doing 1,800 myself. But again, I quite enjoyed that round and came top tier, so there you go. That's the Sentinel AC4. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative and maybe even been able to make a decision whether to skip this one or give it a go. But anyway, there you go. Well, I hope you all have a good weekend. No video for me tomorrow, but I will be back Sunday. So until then, take care out there and I'll catch you next time. See you later.